Χαίρετε.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Κάτσε γιατί.
Ιδιαίτερα σήμερα.
Κλαίω. Το καλύτερο. Θέλω να βάλω η καταγραφή του Teams, είναι λίγο μάπα και θα προσπαθήσω να καταγράψω την οθόνη με το OBS και ελπίζω να βγει καλύτερο αυτό το πράγμα. Ερώτηση, το όνομά μου πού είναι αυτή τη στιγμή, κρύβει κάτι?
Όχι.
Όχι.
Όχι, Όχι, ωραία.
Όχι, νομίζω ότι κρύβει.
Κρύβει.
Ναι, πάλι κάτω αριστερά, στην κάτω αριστερά γωνία.
Εκεί που γράφει select, φαίνεται το select pan view
Ναι.
τέρμα κάτω. Φαίνεται,
Ναι.
έτσι.
Το select ναι φαίνεται και το pan view, αλλά...
Οπότε είναι ανάμεσα στο ποντίκι και στο select.
Ναι, ακριβώς.
Τέλεια. Λοιπόν, οπότε θα προσπαθήσω να καταγράψω με το OBS που τραβάει λίγο κάρτα γραφικών, αλλά δεν νομίζω να έχουμε ιδιαίτερο πρόβλημα. Επίσης, έχω βάλει το Blender στην πιο τυπική μου οθόνη, όπως και τις δικές σας, που είναι 2560x1440, με ένα κλασικό format. Σε περίπτωση, έχει ανοίξει κανένα στα βίντεο, φαίνονται κυριλέ? Όχι.
Εγώ που το άνοιξα, ναι, μια χαρά φαίνεται.
Ναι, μια χαρά.
Επίσης, θέλω να σας ρωτήσω αν τώρα, αν σταματήσω να μιλάω, ακούτε θόρυβο από πίσω μου?
Όχι.
Όχι.
Όλα καλά.
Τέλεια, γιατί αλλιώς θα με ακούγατε να τουρτουρίζω, γιατί έχω το αερόθερμος. Λοιπόν, είναι ακριβώς, εντάξει. Okay. Για να δω. Τέλεια, ωραία. Θα προσπαθήσω να έχω και το μυαλό μου στο chat, γιατί μου γράφετε και δεν είμαι YouTuber και δεν το έχω συνηθίσει. Λοιπόν, τι λέει, Καλά. Βλέπω οι Έλληνες πρώτοι. Τόσο στο εξωτερικό δεν ενδιαφέρονται τόσο.
Πάνε στο view από το Teams και κάτω speaker. Να γίνεις εντελώς YouTuber.
Πού?
Πάνε στο view, πάνω στο Teams, στην μπάρα.
Ναι.
Raise React στο view και πάτα speaker.
Δεν βλέπω ποιο.
Εκεί μωρέ που λέει pop out, chat, people, raise, react, view.
Το React, χαζομάρα. Ναι, οκ, αχα.
Για κάνε speaker.
Το πάτησα, με έβαλα speaker, αλλά δεν ξέρω τι σημαίνει τώρα αυτό. Τι έχει αλλάξει. Έχει αλλάξει κάτι. Μάλλον είναι για να βλέπω τον ομιλητή.
Ναι.
Όχι. Εμένα με βλέπω. Για να δω τον εαυτό μου για την ταμπέλα, για το όνομα. Βασικά δεν με βλέπω εμένα.
Υποτίθεται ότι θα έπρεπε να σε εμφανίζει αλλά YouTube, αλλά anyway.
Anyway. Λοιπόν, πώς είμαστε? Ωραία. Κάτσε να το ξεκινήσω εγώ να γράφει. Και να ξεκινήσουμε το μάθημα. So, hello again from Greece. Hello, Sarah. What we are going to talk about today is how we are going to continue with these lessons. I was thinking about the future of this endeavor, let's say, and what I would like to do is what I would not like to try and make each one of you a clone of mine, and I will explain what I mean. There are four distinct parts in any 3D software. One is modeling, next is textures, the third is lights, and the fourth is animation. Of course, for the end result, you need a camera, and it's best if you would have some photographer's experience, but it's not really required. Okay, you can learn through the process of learning Blender, because on each project you will produce renders and you will try and be realistic with the outcome and yourself if you like them or not. So for me, as a Blender user, I like the modeling process best. And I'm better at the modeling process. Now, for some of you, the modeling process might seem a little boring, okay, which is fine. Some of you might like the texturing process, finding textures and making them look great in the renderings, or making different settings to show different results. Anyway, some of you might like the lighting process, placing lights, illuminating the scene, making it interesting through light placement. Okay, and for sure, we all are going to have different talents in each section. I am not really good at materials. Okay, I just do I try to do more, but I mostly do the minimum for the best, for the result in the rendering. For sure, they could be better, my textures, but there is I need to study this part more. Now, modeling is more straightforward. 1 + 1 = 2. It's something like this. Texturing is more opinionated. Do you like it? Do you not like it? But look, if something is really good, it shows. Okay. Now, lighting, texturing is opinionated. Lighting, the lighting part, we need to work on it. What I mean is, I've been like in Monoplan 2 years now. The last thing anyone tells me in a project is the lighting part, which is not good. And what I mean by that is that imagine that you have a hotel room with no lights. You would have to wait for the daylight to come in and see the room. So half of the time, the room is not visible without lights, and placing lights in a room must create an interest in that room. We see a corridor, we place spotlights, and it's over. It doesn't go like that. You need to, because the textures won't show, the geometry won't show in real life also, I mean, okay. And the lighting part is not just placing LED strips and some spots in the ceiling and we're done. Blender will help you make iterations, will help you make different scenarios that the lighting in the room makes it more interesting. Now, I'm not saying that the lighting in the projects I have done so far is not interesting, but the thing is that it's last in the process for some reason, and it shouldn't be. I mean, if you created the geometry of the room in Blender, the next thing you do is place the lights, not textures, because everything will change. If you place the texture second, make the geometry, then place textures, then you place the light and everything changes. The textures change because they have different glossiness depending if they reflect a light source. If they have shadows on them, they change. Depending on the angle and the background light, it changes. If it's a daylight render, it goes blue and the lights are orange, and that changes. But if you place the lights after geometry, you know where the shadows are, you know where the reflections are, you know how the daylight illuminates the hotel room, and not every hotel room or interior space has direct sunlight. Most of them have just the skylight, which is really blue. Okay, and then you start placing textures on the big surfaces. Because if you try and figure out the textures on small items, like a small furniture, you place a wood you like, and it will turn out all white because the whole space is white. Okay, so you start with the floor because probably the floor is the more, black part of the image, the grayed out part of the image. The walls probably are a lighter color with some tapestry. The ceiling mostly would be a light color. And then whatever you put inside and whatever materials you select, they will turn out mostly like 95% as they would be at the last stages, because most of the coloring would be finished. Now, if some furniture are still left white because you haven't had time to finish it, that they don't they won't interact too much with some other part of the image which is far away or anything. So we are different people, and we like different stuff, and hopefully some of us like modeling, hopefully some of us like texturing, hopefully some of us like lighting, and all of us should learn a bit of photography. How to place the camera, which lenses look good, what's the distance from your subject, how to separate the image, mentally separate the image to rules of third, to place your near objects, your far objects, so you can make the image interesting and win over the client, because half of the work is to win over the client, of course. So to see the client to see an image and go, okay, that's what I want, finished, no revisions, no nothing. I love you, goodbye. Okay, that's the best outcome. Now, if you don't do the image, if you produce a good image that the client says yes, but that is not a realistic image, that means that you have cheated along the way in Blender just to produce a good enough image. Okay, and then when you try to build it, the thing is really different than what the client has said. Okay, then it's a bit of a problem. So we are trying to do things as realistically as possible, no cheats, and there are plenty of cheats to do in Blender, and make a lot of images. Now the VR Tour images are really helpful because it's more like a human point of view. When you take just renderings of a subject, you can select what to show, what to hide, from where to take your photo, but you don't have this thing with the VR tours, and you can look wherever you want and see every detail. You cannot hide. And that is good. And I think that is also appreciated by the client, because the client has a freedom to look anywhere. And if he or she says yes to your interior design or exterior architecture, then you can say, look, you said yes, this is how it's going to turn out, and it's on you if you don't like it at the end. Anyway, so what I'm trying to do now, what we are going to do is try to be experts in the fields we like. That doesn't mean that you won't know stuff from the other part of Blender, of modeling or texture or lighting, but you will know enough to know what you are asking from, because you are going to work with each other in the future with Blender. Some of you are going to ask for models from someone else. Someone will ask textures, a complete render or whatever. Okay. And you will know each other's part in the process. So it won't go crazy. You won't ask crazy stuff. If you have, let's say, to select 2 chairs that you like for the interior, then you can think how much work does one chair need or the other. I'm not saying that you will select items based on the complexity, so you won't put too much work on the partner, your partner in the project. But if you like them both, please the same. Please select the one with less details because it will take less to model. Okay. Now, also. I am also currently doing some lesson with Claudia. I hope she's in. If she doesn't have a meeting, I have placed Claudia in, and of course Claudia is 2 months ahead of you. And I will stop the lesson. If she hears me now, she doesn't know about it, but we will stop the lessons because too much Monoplan time. There's no reason for it. And we are going to try to, because everyone has a different pace of learning, we are going to try to not explain in each lesson everything in Blender. We are going to take small projects from start to finish. And a project can be just whatever, a cup of glass, whatever. And we're going to go from modeling, texturing, lighting, and rendering in one session, and maybe half of a session. Okay. And in the first part, I am going to explain a part of the process detailed. And the second part, if we have time, you will show me again an object, and I will go nuts, okay? And I will do really weird stuff. But because you will have, each one has his own or her own specific speed in learning. All of you will benefit from the first part, and the ones who already know some stuff because they have studied it by themselves will benefit from the second part. So today's thing I'm going to make, I'm going to start to make is I'm going to import a floor plan. I'm trying to bridge the gap of understanding between ArchiCAD and Blender. Okay, what is maybe a workflow to use it? Now, I will import a floor plan. The floor plans that Blender can import are in DXF format, not DVG, DXF. So probably you will need AutoCAD you export the floor plan from ArchiCAD, you open it in AutoCAD, you clear it up, and then you save it as DXF. Of course, there will be a session which I show an ArchiCAD model imported, okay, and cleared up. Now, what do I mean by this? Maybe I'll look. I'm currently working on this. Okay, this is an ArchiCAD model. Okay, it's a part of Dunlow, and it's an ArchiCAD model, and it imports like this. What you will see is that things look jagged. Things don't look smooth. The first thing is that things don't look smooth. The second thing is that if you see this is the floor item, you see the polygons are really bad. The geometry, the way Blender or also ArchiCAD or any software exports surfaces, divides them into weird and overstretched triangles, like this little guy here. And this is not really good for applying textures on the surfaces. And I could just say import the model from ArchiCAD and I will show you how to clear it up. And then at the end you will just know how to clear up models. And you wouldn't have the thinking of making the way of thinking of making something new. Now, this is going to be deleted. This cannot be saved. Okay. And or this desk, I will probably delete the top part or try to save it somehow. Anyway, so if you are wondering how I am moving in such not like this, let's say, this this is really good in ArchiCAD also in all design programs. I will show you this. This is a space mouse. It's called. If you want to have better tools and move around, this is excellent for a presentation because if I turn a bit, you know, it moves smoothly. So, but this costs around 200 euros if you want to have it. But you will stop doing this thing, which is very frustrating. I know you're used to it, but it's not nice. So we will import the floor plan. New, let me, yeah, file new. Don't save. We will import the floor plan. We will fill it with polygons. We will extrude the polygons to create walls, and then we will make openings for the doors and the windows. So, file, import, AutoCAD DXF. Now, the AutoCAD DXF option is not visible at the beginning. You must turn on the add-on for importing AutoCAD stuff. Go to Edit, Preferences, and since 4.23, it's probably an extension. So CAD, yeah. You write CAD in the search bar, import AutoCAD DXF format. You click install, and it will be visible. So by itself, Blender will have it as an add-on. You don't need to download it from anywhere. So file, import AutoCAD DXF. Click. Let's try and find it. Desktop. Double click. Okay. So it's a. I hope you can see it. Now, this is a very simple room. Okay, it's the process I want to show you because after a while it gets repetitive, and that means that it's good for you to do it at the beginning because you will learn the commands in muscle memory, and you won't have to look at the keyboard all the time. So what is imported is a lot of stuff, as you see here, for such a small thing. We don't need all this stuff because it has some items that I'm pressing Shift to add to the selection. Some items that I will press H to hide. Don't really need to. You don't use them. They're called empties. anyway, you will see, I will explain later on. So I have hidden, it looks like I have hidden everything, but still things are here. And these things, I don't, there's some things, little crosses. These are the empties. It's just an object that doesn't appear anywhere, but since it has some coordinates in it, you can use them to, in a modifier, let's say the mirror modifier, you can use an empty. It doesn't do anything, it doesn't render, it doesn't have any width, size, just coordinates. Now, so what I will do now is I will press Control and Space Bar, and the window my mouse is in will become larger. So Control Space Bar, and I have full screen on this window. Control Space Bar again to see everything back. Control Space Bar, and I will go to a top view. I will press the tilde key, move my mouse up. Let's do it again. Simultaneously, tilde and up, and I'm at the top view. So I will create a simple plane, Shift A and Mesh. Now I have set my Blender to go to edit mode immediately when I create a new shape, because that's what I 99% of the time do. I create something, I go to edit mode and change it. But you don't need to have this function yet. So I will press grab to take this plane, and I will snap it to a corner. Of course, I pressed Control to open the snap, to use the snap, just for now. And now I will select these vertices, or you can go, I will select this edge to move. So G on the X-axis, Control for temporary snap here. This thing also, G, Y, click here. So now, well, now these walls are not really straight, but anyway, I will change it. So now, how do I create more polygons from this one? I select the edge, I press E for extrude. I haven't pressed anything else, and I will go near a snapping point, near a floor plan point, press Control for temporary snap, and click. Now, of course, you can have the snap open on all the time, no problem, it's up to you. So again, I select the edge, I press E for extrude. Now I don't have to press Control to turn on snap, it's on by default. And again, E, click, and let's go a bit faster, E and X, come on, E, X here, E, Y here, E, Y here, E, Y here, E, Y here. Okay, now, since these walls are not straight, if you press this icon, toggle X-ray, it makes your model transparent. So if something is not really visible because the model is hiding it, you can press it and see what's behind it. And I will turn off the grid because I really don't like it. It's just lines with some meaning, but you don't really need them. So I extruded straight up and down, right and left, the polygons, and of course the walls are not straight. So I'm going to move the vertices. I'm going to press 1, and you can see here that it changes vertices, select mode, vertex select, and I will select this vertex, G to move here, and this here. This can go here. this can go here. Don't worry about this triangle. It will disappear, and I will show you why and how. But now there is a bit of a problem because the vertices I sent here are not connected to each other, and vertices that exist at exactly the same coordinates are not nice because they create a lot of problems. Essentially, they are polygons squished together here. And let's take them a bit away. There is the weld function. If I take them here and select everything and press M, it's the merge. Weld is in 3ds Max. Or also in Blender. Anyway, merge, you press M for merge, and where do you want to merge? And usually want to merge by distance. Collapse is merged at the same, the point where everything, every vertice's distance is the same, and it's a bit different than the center. The cursor is where this little icon I told you it's very important is. So mostly you will do by distance, and a panel opens, not the whole panel unfortunately, here, and it says, you cannot see it because I have the screencast, the distance is 0.01 centimeters. This is a safe distance, let's say, to merge. Because when you have an object like a pillow that has a lot of small polygons because you want to show the curvature of the object, 0.1 millimeter, that is, might be a bit big, and vertices that you don't want to merge get merged. Also, we have another option here next to the XYZ buttons. We have another option that is called auto merge vertices. And if we turn this on and we send a vertex on top of another, they will weld. They will merge automatically. Now, how do you know if two vertices are merged? Let's say I move this one here. If I select a vertex here, let's say, you will see that the lines that pass through this vertex are turned orange or yellow, depending on the color scheme you have your Blender in. So, but you see every line turned to orange. If I click here, look, only one line has turned. So there is one vertex here that connects to that line. There it is. So the others don't show. If I weld them, and if I merge them by distance, and I click now, you see every line has been merged. And after the reset scale problem, which I talked in the last lesson, this is next in list for the ones, the new students, because they don't understand. Because the next thing after this is to extrude these planes to create walls. And if these vertices are not welded and you try to extrude, you will create polygons. I have the auto merge option. You will create polygons that have no width or volume. So in here, look, there is some, you can see something is going on here. That this is a problem. Anyway, it's the next step. So once you finish your floor plan, you must be very strict and try to find out if you have any problems. So you can also create polygons not by extruding the edge, which an edge is 2 points essentially. You can go to vertices, just select the vertices, and if you select 2 vertices, the edge is also kind of selected. You don't see any other edge selected. The orange color fades out to the next, when it's going to the next vertex. So this is a bit better from extruding the edge, because you don't have to switch from edges to vertices all the time. Because if I go here and extrude and I see that my edge is not completely snapped to where I want, I will go back to vertices and move it back in place, and then go back to edge and select the edge. You don't need to do that. Just go to vertices, and now E, extrude, snap, extrude, extrude, extrude here, select this, here, extrude here. And this is, you do this thing for 10 minutes. It's not hard filling up a floor plan. It's quite fast in Blender. And here, and let's say here, the outer walls, we really don't care about them, because we are going, let's say we know we are going to render the inside of the wall, so we don't really care what the outside looks, but we would like them to be connected. Click the auto merge vertices, select one, G here, G here, move, that is, grab here. Now, if it was like this or like this, no one cares, you're never going to see it, but anyway. Here, here, I don't like this, move here, here. Here, go to polygons. Now, this is, you can see this is a door, okay? You can, let's leave the polygon under the door, okay? For now, and you will see what we are going to do about it. So move here, here. There is a window here. I just erased it. Anyway, so we are on vertices. I will press the keyboard shortcut A to select all, everything. I pressed A, selected all the vertices, and I will press M for merge. By distance, this safe distance I have, and it says at the bottom, removed 0 vertices. So I know that I didn't have any overlapping vertices that can cause problem in this stage. Now I will leave this door open, and you can see the difference of having the polygon filled underneath the door and the window and having it open. So let's say our walls have a height of 280 or 3 meters anyway, extrude, and I write 300, enter. Okay, now, so this is where the door is going to be, this is where the window is going to be. And again, if you want to add detail or make more complex shapes, you will need to add loops. You will need to add edges, cuts to your model. So we all know that we have a cut. Let's use the knife tool. I pressed the tilde key and I went to the left view, and I see all my walls here, and I press K. The knife tool has appeared. Click somewhere, wherever, and it's not a straight line unless I press A. Of course, the options are below. Press A to just move at a specific angle. That's the A stands for. And it has, if you see at the bottom, it has the angle constraint at 30 degrees. So here, 30, 30, 90. If you want a different degree, you just write it, 45. And not enter, yeah, stupid. Click K, knife tool, A for angle constraint. It went back to 30 because it's a default value. Anyway, you write it. Let's go 45, and it locks at 45. Maybe you want 12.5 degrees. Click, 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 click. Oh, here you go. So let's go back to a horizontal cut. Let's click somewhere outside of the model, but we need a last keystroke, the key C, because the key C, as you read down at the middle, it says cut through. If I just click now, it will cut only the polygons that are nearest to the viewpoint, to me. But if I press C, and maybe you have noticed the little green squares just got a bit brighter because the other cutting points have turned up, and I click somewhere, and last thing, spacebar to take the command. Okay, so I press now 1 for vertices, and when you select them in the transform panel, it says on the z-axis, this line is at 187.73 centimeters from the origin point, the blue dot here. If the origin point was somewhere else, the local distance measurement would be different. But you also have the global distance, and that measures everything you have selected from 0.0.0 of the world coordinates. So it happens because we began a floor plan at the 0 point of the z-axis. It happens so that the global and the local coordinates are the same, but they're usually not. Anyway, so let's go and change this value to 240. Let's say my doors and my windows, I want them to be at this height. And now I want to make another cut for the bottom edge of the window. So again, press K for knife tool, A for angle constraint, C for cut through. And let's click again, space. It's already selected, and I want them to be, I have no idea, to 90, let's say. Okay. And now if we go back to a perspective view, our model has been cut through and through. It's not really necessary to have because we just created a lot of polygons, not a lot. A lot of polygons is like 20,000 polygons. 5, 10 polygons are not a lot. But sometimes having some polygons on some more polygons on the faces create better texturing. The texture applies better. So let's go to the easy part, the window. So since we cut it through and through, we have a polygon here and a polygon here. And what we want to do is select both by selecting the first and pressing Shift and click on the second one. And we would like to bridge them. Now, right click, bridge faces. And we have a hole. Now, the bridge function is not usually meant to do it like this. It's usually meant to do something like this. You have two stuff here, and you select these two polygons and you bridge them. And it turns out like this. But because our polygons were looking at the opposite direction and we bridged them, it created these polygons that were created here, essentially were created here. And we're left with a hole. Okay, now let's do the same with the door. I will select, so I just press the see-through button. Let's select this, shift this, and let's do again bridge and see what happens. Bridge faces. Now the bridge happened as before, and we have another polygon here at the bottom. Now, do we want this polygon? I would say yes, because now we can select these polygons and press F, which means fill, and it fills the selection. So we can also, let's go here. 1 polygon, 2 polygons. Here, bridge. Now to select this, now I'm pressing Control, and it creates a selection path. The last selection. So F again, fill. Okay, great. Let's delete this thing. Now the difference is that if we at the floor plan we didn't fill the polygon at the door, we would have something like this, and from here we can just do select, and bridge, and it's finished. But the floor and blah blah blah. There are advantages and there are disadvantages, because sometimes you just create a floor like this, because who cares? It's not going to be seen anywhere, and you know, time is a key factor in doing anything. So let's select the polygons of the floor here, just selection, and we press P to separate the selection. And now we should go back to the full screen and see it says plane 01. Let's double click here and name floor. And let's select this one, double click here and walls. And let's take these two and put them in a collection I have to be created by default in this new project. The collection is called model. When you see this icon, it's a collection, it's a group of items, okay? But it's called collection for a specific reason, because group is another thing in Blender. It's something different. It's items attached to each other. Probably when you start, you will have nothing here, but if you right click in the outliner, in the empty space, new collection, double click, blah, 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 you name it. And if you are wondering about these icons to the right of each item, these are filters, and you can see the Excel-like filter icon here, that you can show properties that are useful. Like the first one is, if you want to anything in this collection or this item, if you want to be visible in any way, it's an on-off switch. The next one, if you want to be able to select it, of course. The next one, the eye, is if you want it to be visible in the viewport, but if you render, it will be rendered. The next thing is, again, they're going to merge these two in soon, I think, because again it's in the viewport, but while the first one is temporarily a hidden object. Let's say if I select the walls and press H to hide, okay, now the wall item, look, the small eye is turned off. It's because it's hidden. If I turn on the little eye and click on the screen, the little screen, it will turn off, but even if I press unhide, nothing happens. So it's a more permanent hide function. Because let's say you have a collection with all the trees of the project, which are millions of polygons, and they make your viewport really slow. You would, if you would working on another area and you hit something and you hide it and all the trees pop up, it's a big problem. So you keep the collection with the trees hidden in the little screen icon, and while you're working, you can hide temporarily, as it says in the viewport. And the last icon that I have placed is a small camera, if it will show or not at render time. So this is like 75% of the outline stuff you need to know. Next is just some shortcuts to rename stuff easier or whatever, or to navigate faster here. So let's unhide the walls. Let's do the same thing for the ceiling. Here, F. Here, now look, I pressed Control to maybe select the quickest route, but it selected something else. It's not to be trusted much. In a straight line, probably. So F to fill, 3 to go to the polygons, P to separate the selection. I will name this ceiling. And now we have done the modeling phase. I will create now in a material, okay, for the 3 of them. New. I'm at the, you know, the 3D, what's it called? The shader editor. So you can see now that the outline on one of the objects I have selected is brighter than the other outlines. And in your Blender, it would be yellow and orange. As I told you before, the brighter outlined item is the leader. So the material didn't go to all of them, it went to the leader. And now if you want to give the material while you have this selected to the other stuff, you must press L. No. Control L. I have it as a shortcut somewhere else. So Control L and select Link Materials. Now, each item has this material, which I will name white. Okay, and I will select the floor and I will duplicate this material, making a new one. You see the duplicate icon here, and it gives a new name, white, and I will name this gray. I always misspell this thing. And I will click on the base. You don't need to remember any of this. And I will click on the base color and move the slider up, down to give a more gray color, because I click now the last sphere up here on the viewport shading menu and click the small triangle, and my scene, my world doesn't have any light right now. So you see, what you see is just gray, black stuff. But if I unclick to use the scene's world, Blender has by default some worlds, let's say, some HDRI images to light up the model you are working on. And let's turn on world opacity. This is one image that lights, that you can have it light your scene. This will not show at render time. It's just for preview purposes. And let's make it a bit brighter, and let's select maybe a sunrise here. That's nice. And let's go in the room. And this is what we see. And look, I have 8 minutes. So what I was talking about at the start is, so we have this room with the gray floor and white walls, and it's a start because you can print screen this and make some sketches for someone else to see. Now, if we start putting textures now, there is no point at trying to make them look good. Maybe just use the images, the texture images, to know what goes where. Because let's put a light, Shift A, light. Let's put an area light, which is very common. This is it went to the 000 point, so you don't see it, but this is the, I will move it from there. Whoop. And you see it lights up the scene. Now, not too bright, the intensity is low. Let's go up now. So I have placed a light, a square light, which usually you won't put something like this. Let's say you will put a disc light with a diameter of 3 centimeters. Now this is more like a spot, okay, but it's a boring spot. It just gives a uniform light, okay. Now let's say we had something interesting on that wall. You would like to put an IES profile to that light, and you will understand, some of you already know what this means. And let's select this. And now the light and the wall with it becomes more interesting. I'm not saying it's nice, I'm saying it's more interesting. So if you have a detail here, while you think about the detail, you must think also about giving light to that specific point, so you can show that this is an interesting point. The opposite would be to get rid of this IES profile and just make a square and just turn everything on, and everything goes flat and uninteresting. So for me, the correct way of thinking about a design is think about the geometry, think about the places you will give attention to and place lights. And if you do this stuff in Blender, it will change what you thought before you started about the textures you are going to place. Okay. And of course, we can touch a bit about this. Let's say make the walls with less roughness, more glossy. Now, this is a big problem in making renderings correct and interesting, because if there is a shiny surface, you see the light is very prominent, the shape of the light. So you can't just start filling the ceiling with the square lights and everything will look fine. Everything goes really bad. You must select your light sources very wisely, let's say. So this is it for today. I hope that you start in your free time or whatever time you have with Blender, and start figuring out what part of Blender you like. That's of course for 1 month from now, since after I show you the more like the texturing stuff and the lighting stuff and the rendering camera stuff. Anyway, this for today. Do you have any questions or anything you would like to say? Silence. I have 3 minutes, 3 more minutes. I will start playing until someone says something.
I have a question.
Please.
You mentioned earlier about this mouse, the space mouse. Is
Mm.
there a way that we can navigate with arrow keys?
Yes. Yes, there is a game mode. I think, let me try. I think it's Control Shift and tilde. I don't, wait, I'll need to search for it. But there is a game mode on Blender. Blender game mode. How to switch the game mode? Wait, I will find it. What was Shift and Z? No, it's not Shift and Z. Anyway, I will post the answer in the chat. Anything else? But it's not really, again, with the arrows, it will go a bit weird. Again, it's not, because this mouse has a gyroscope inside, and every small movement, and it depends on how much you press it. I mean, now I move really slow, and now I press it, whoop, and it takes some time to get to know it. But anyway, it's a good investment for me, at least. And for ArchiCAD, it's great. Any other questions?
I have a follow-up. Like in general, what is the idea of the structure of these lessons? Like we do along what you do, or we just watch and then we rewatch the video and try to do all these things?
Yeah, you should think of a really small project that you would like to make, anything, and don't try to do what I like. Look, I mean, with a floor plan and the walls, yeah, it's somewhat the fastest way to create walls and floors and stuff like that. But the thing is to see, and the way I also learned is by watching someone more experienced use the commands in a way I haven't thought of before. Because you can go and study all the commands by itself, but you don't know how to bridge to an end result. And you shouldn't try to work at the same speed I am, because I don't even know what I'm going to say most of the time. Okay, I know I have to end somewhere, and you should now, let's say, go to Blender and try to make, you don't really need a floor plan, just make a plane and try and extruding it to something. And for now, whatever you do will help your hands get accustomed to using Blender. And for now, that's the reason for the lessons. Don't be too hard on yourselves, and just try and get familiar with Blender. Anything else?
I think for the start now, I don't know if I missed something, but how you have placed all this, how we say, like all this, I think you showed once how we place them, but like what do we need to have for starters, like a standard, because when we open Blender, it's not automatic the same as yours.
Yeah,
is it a thing we can have like a text from here or something, so we can manage that it looks the same, so in order when you show stuff we can also do the same?
Sure, yes, I will create a video for customizing Blender as I have. It's a separate video. We won't do it in a lesson, and I will upload it. The items you see now are from libraries. There is a free library with a pretty good one with Blender that has most of them are free stuff, and most of them are not. It's called Blender Kit. It's an add-on. I will show you how you are going to turn it on, and you can search for anything, specific stuff. Now it's paid. I have paid for this subscription. It's really cheap. It's 6 euros a month, which is like nothing. Because look, if you are going to spend, I would spend like three hours making this chair, and 6 euros to have everything is like ridiculous. And it's like a library side Blender. I have a lot of more libraries. As I told before, I have spent a lot of money because you value your time. You cannot keep wasting. If you have a deadline, you can, you know, you can. Sorry, I was trying to make this chair that you didn't like at the end, and we changed it, and I have to do the new chair, and you know, nothing gets done at the end. So I will create a video on how to customize your blender to look like mine. And yeah, I will post it on the YouTube channel. Anything else? I know these items look really nice, and they are, but they cost a lot of money. But if our project is like 60 million euros and the client would like to have a Lamborghini in the project, and where did it go? No one knows. Anyway, maybe it's loading. I don't know. Up, here you go. Here you go. Where did it go? Up, here you go. So, anything else? And I think it's fully.
I have to go. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. Thank you also.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, goodbye, everyone. You will see the lesson on YouTube again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Leonard.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.